a very good place. Ethics are scarce commodity, and so is ethical leadership. So combining the two together really gives us a great place. Our next speaker, Ms Jaacqueline Wijtenburg, is a program director, fundraiser, and stakeholder relations manager for the Queenstown Education Foundation. The Queenstown Education Foundation is a non-profit company and it also employs IT managers and has a board of directors. She is also a committee member of the Komani, a civil organization that to date has facilitated over 100 volunteer projects to bring more safety, dignity, and beauty to Komani. Her career began with a diploma in journalism. She is registered as a chartered public relations practitioner with the Public Relations Institute of South Africa. On a regular basis, she practices a form of self-inquiry called Diamond Approach. She is originally from Johannesburg, but now lives in Komani. I know she's well prepared to speak to us today. I saw your post the other day where you are excited to share your journey with us. The work that you do is phenomenal, and I'm very excited to listen to your contribution on this topic. And it's an absolute pleasure to have you speak to us.
Good evening, everybody. I don't know everybody's names that are special guests here tonight, but I do want to make special mention to you, Mfundo. Thank you very much for inviting me, to the program director, to all the BMF board members, and to my fellow special guest speakers, Councillor Gela, Executive Mayor of Hani District Municipality, and Mr Jonas, the Chairman of MTN. And ladies and gentlemen, to every one of you here tonight. I'm really deeply honoured to share this evening with you all, and I'd like to begin with a poem by Hafiz. It's titled, Beautiful Creatures. There is a beautiful creature living in a hole that you have dug. So at night, I set fruit and grains and little pots of wine and milk beside your soft earthen mounds, and I often sing. But still, my dear, you don't come out. I've fallen in love with someone who hides inside you. We should talk about this problem, otherwise I will never leave you alone. We should talk about this problem, otherwise I shall never leave you alone. So Mr Tsheketshe invited me here to reflect on my leadership journey and the role of ethics within it. He suggested I also share my perspective on strides being made to resolve the local issue here in Komani of our municipality's current struggle to deliver basic services. He also asked that I share the inspiring vision and some of the achievements of an innovative collaboration underway here, now in its 7th year, called the Queenstown Education Foundation, or QEF. So it's quite multi-leveled, it's somewhat complex, right? I hope to honour your attention by sticking to the central theme that runs through all those aspects for me, which are influence, power, and emotional sensitivity. My individual journey with leadership has only just begun, really. Very unlike the BMF, which is in its 45th year now, which has made such massive strides in massive strides or massive impact, should I say, on South Africa's socio-economic and political landscape. So I'm identified as a white person. I didn't realize I could be a member of the BMF even, so perhaps I'll consider that. I wholeheartedly support its drive toward ethical leadership. How exactly South Africa's socio-economic transformation is achieved and in what time frame? It's being heavily debated all around the country, and here in Komani no less so. Decolonized education is also being debated alongside. Economic hardship, social hurts. Shoot. They've created enormous suffering, and there's never been a more urgent time to alleviate them. As our awareness increases alongside technological advancements and policy changes, there are movements forward, and surely that is worth celebrating. So tonight I'd like to take you back to where my passion for emotional sensitivity started. It was a mere idea at the age of 10 when I saw my new school's motto embroidered onto my blazer. Know thyself, it said. Know thyself. Know thyself. The school was SAHETI, a school for the Greek community of Johannesburg, and its motto came from the ancient Greek philosopher Socrates, born in the Athenian city-state about 2,500 years ago. Interestingly, one of the primary founders of SAHETI was Adv George Bizos, a Greek South African human rights lawyer who represented President Nelson Mandela during the Rivonia Trial. He also represented families of anti-apartheid activists killed by the government, and he did it throughout the hearings of the Truth and Reconciliation Commission. So as I was almost ready to matriculate, I was aware that Chris Hani's daughter, Lindiwe, was being enrolled at SAHETI. And according to Adv Bizos, as reported in a news article, Chris Hani was a classics scholar, and he wanted his children to receive a classical education. In media reports, Lindiwe explained how painful it was to be part of a minority at the school. Not only was she black, she wasn't Greek. Although I was unfairly privileged by apartheid in a way that her father and many brave compatriots fought against, it was also emotionally hard for me to be a non-Greek at SAHETI. The extent of the pain is not comparable. It's not clear. But it pained me nevertheless. The majority of children were from Greek families, and I didn't have a drop of Greek blood in me. I didn't speak Greek. I didn't know the customs, the cultures, or the culture. I felt marginalized and, I suppose, isolated. But I came to respect that ancient Greeks made important contributions to philosophy as well as mathematics, astronomy, and medicine at that time, including offering the concepts and names democracy, politia, politics. In other words, Socrates with his motto, know thyself, was part of the movement that birthed the Western world's ideal of democracy. So after a few miserable years, I realized that I would just need to involve myself in the school in order to feel that I belonged. So I volunteered for different cultural clubs at school and eventually transformed the pain into joy. I earned myself the Headmaster's Award. It became the beginning of a beautiful journey with Greece and school leadership. So today I'm married to a loving South African-born Greek husband who serves as a principal of a local school here in town where he grew up. And in my own right, I'm now working for Faith, the not-for-profit company of Queenstown Education Foundation. So 3 years ago, I willingly left the city of Joburg to be here in the countryside. Why? The pace was slower, the roots felt deeper, and the opportunities to develop as a social entrepreneur felt greater. small communities come together easily in crises. I felt ready to offer whatever I could to the community. At times, like in childhood, I again felt marginalized. The white population here is very small. I don't speak isiXhosa. Triple BEE policies reduce my work opportunities, and people are often mistrustful of city people or people not in their particular church. So, just like in school, I began volunteering. Together with other women, I helped the local art exhibition raise money for the elderly. Together with the committee, I formalized a volunteer movement that brought more safety, dignity, and beauty into public spaces. Together with my friends across the world, I made sure a group of 30 vulnerable girls in the Mlungisi informal settlement had netball uniforms so they could compete in leagues. And just by the way, I'm happy to report that the Crusaders netball team is thriving. They've won just about every match that they've played in, and they're now creating their own fundraising tours. During the initial lockdown period, thanks to the help of many members sitting right here in the audience tonight, I was able to manage a massive food parcel campaign that through multiple parties delivered over 5,000 parcels, food parcels, door to door, in 6 weeks, within the impoverished areas of Mlungisi, Isabeleni, Lessington, and even some homes in Toptown. So when I was appointed to QEF 2 years ago, I was tasked with testing if a group of school leaders had appetite to deepen their existing collaboration as a way to further realize QEF's vision of transforming our town here into a universally recognized center of educational excellence. It turns out they are. Our 11 affiliated schools include diverse primary and high schools, public and private, who offer quality education to our town's children who come from predominantly isiXhosa speaking homes and warmly embrace all cultures. They really are schools of excellence. Families from other provinces and even those from across our country's borders are attracted by our affiliate schools' well-run boarding facilities. We are now looking for sustainable ways to extend the collaboration and cooperation within the broader schooling district. We have already built and manage a highly innovative digital network for cost-efficient, high-speed data transfer. We partner with fundraisers. Very noteworthy is that our bursary fundraiser, the 1965 Ride, has already distributed over 100 bursaries to date, and that was from about 11 years ago. We also facilitated, and those are all bursaries here in town. We also facilitate a community of practice for maths teachers that publishes a grade 7 common assessment paper. Throughout the year, we host interesting dialogues, thought-provoking dialogues, amongst school leaders. We even have a systemic learner and teacher wellbeing intervention and a space exploration club planned. So our collaboration, any collaboration, needs very firm identities. Each collaborator needs their own vision, their own mission, their own support base. Collaboration does not mean total union. People often form collaborations very loosely, even without contracts, and as inevitable stresses arise, they start to fall apart at the seams. Disagreements feel personal, when actually they are more the result of a resistance to systemic change. When we humans are stressed, we are tempted to corral and go back to our previous safety spots. I see emotional sensitivity a bit like just reducing the size of my ego. It naturally happens when I actively explore and come to know myself. Having less of an ego doesn't mean being a doormat. It doesn't mean being a pushover. It simply means to hold what you feel you absolutely know to be true in a light enough way that you can just explore it. On your own, with others. It involves moving beyond the safety of comfort into adventurous curiosity and growth. It requires recognizing the role of trauma and fear, and recognizing the exact triggers that give rise to disproportionate emotional reactions that derail the best of its intentions. Such growth is a lifetime journey. We actually all started it in the safety of our mother's lap, when we felt a desire to climb off and explore the environment around us, bit by bit. As adults, I feel we need to listen deeply and be open to hear each other across all the community. We need to be curious and accommodating. And I know sometimes that's a really hard ask. At a personal level, at a communal level. Our town's history with apartheid, like all those around the country, was harsh. Emotional wounds take time to heal. They cannot simply bend to the will that very confidently says, well, that was just in the past, let's move on now, and just get on with it. Tender hearts are involved. Tender hearts. And natural loyalties exist to past generations who suffered, not mildly, severely. I have suffered minor, very minor personal injury from some members of the white-led business community, and I have to say it triggered past wounds from my childhood. Unconscious fear, mine and theirs, was most likely the root cause of the discord. At the same time, I've benefited, and I'm grateful, from what the same community members have built. I see both sides of the coin. So, party politics is not my path in this life. I'm interested in walking in the forest of the unknown and serving my community by building bridges across racial and cultural divides, to serve education, to link interested parties to each other. I'm just one of many with this heartfelt wish and commitment to the path. So let's find ways for people to meet each other and have extraordinarily meaningful conversations together. To return to where I started, Hafiz said, there's a beautiful creature living in a hole you have dug. We should talk about this problem, otherwise I will never leave you alone. Parts of our community are in a hole that in one way or another, at one time or another, we have all dug together. And a beautiful creature lives inside it. It's my deep wish to convene a conversation among all stakeholders who feel inspired by QEF's vision for enhancing educational excellence in this town. And schools, like all institutions, need basic services. Mr Tsheketshe has graciously volunteered to facilitate this QEF conversation with me, and I hope that everyone in this room might consider joining it when the time comes. Please let me know if you are. Thank you very much.